Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on? Well, this is a very exciting week, right? I mean, we got the tariffs are starting on Friday. The tariffs are coming out, right? And well, that's if the Donald doesn't chicken out again, but the tariffs start August 1st. So maybe this week is the week where we start to pull back in the market a little bit. Now, I do think they're going to push it up higher. I mean, we're at a point right now, it's called extreme greed, right? Nobody believes the market can go back down. We already had that 20% drop this year, and nobody believes that we'll have any more drops for the rest of the year. Now, they could be right. I'm not saying they're wrong. Maybe we close the year up higher, but I do think we'll get a little bit of a correction before they push this market up higher. And they'll do it, of course, with the printing of money. Now, people don't really understand what's going on. You can kind of look at it, right? I mean, what's the S&P up? S&P this year is up about 5%, maybe 6%. Okay, let's call it 6%, right? All right, well, what's gold up? Over 30%. What's silver up? Over 30%. See, that's real money. You're losing your purchasing power, but yet you're happy, right? It's invisible, but you're happy because you're up 6% in the stock market. A lot of people are really happy with Nvidia, right? Nvidia, I mean, it exploded off of its April lows. What's that up for the year? Up about 15%, up about half of what gold's up, right? So a lot of these aren't really going up compared to real money, but yet people are happy because they think they're making money in them, right? I mean, even the Bitcoin people look at Bitcoin for the year, and it's having a good year. It's up about 20%. A lot less than gold, but still respectable. Look at Ethereum, though. Ethereum, right? Well, Ethereum started the year off bad, right? It started the year off down 50%. But now off of the bottom, it's come up 150%. A lot of people getting out of their Bitcoin, getting into Ethereum. Now, where would we be with all these cryptos, right? I mean, we got Ethereum, we got Bitcoin, we got Dogecoin, we got Fartcoin, we got the Trump coin, we got Melania coin. How did we ever survive without them? What were we gambling on? I mean, this is exciting. I hope they never go away, but would your life be that much different if they all went away? I don't think your life would change at all. Now you take away the metals from your life, the gold, the silver, you're going to find your life would be a lot different because they're real things. They do real stuff. To others, it's great for gambling, right? I mean, I love them. I hope they stay. And I do think Ethereum's going much higher. I think Bitcoin's going much higher, but I think Ethereum will outpace it. That's just my take. All right, let's get over to the real estate side of things now. The real estate market, right? Okay, so Moody's, they got their chief economist, that's the big dog, right, in the firm. Their chief economist, he's been waving this yellow flag all year. Well, this month, he's changed it to a red flag. He says real estate's in big trouble. He's talking about the home builders mainly. See, the home builders, what they've been doing to stay in business to get their homes to sell has been buying down the mortgage rate. So mortgage rates up here at 7%, but they'll buy them down to 4 or 3%. But it's been too expensive for them, right? You can tell that by their stock prices down 30, 40% for the year. In a year where the stock market is up, they're down 30 to 40% because they're getting killed because they have to buy down those mortgage rates, right? Okay, well, that's the problem. You see, they got to buy down the rates. But here's the thing. People with individual homes for sale, they're going to have to start to buy down the mortgage rates to compete with the new home builders. The home builders are in big trouble. They don't know what to do. And there's really no way out for them. They have to eventually start cutting prices, and that's going to happen. You see, what we had is active listings. Active listings on the market are up 30% year over year. 30% more homes for sale right now than there were a year ago. Now that's fascinating, right? Well, how many homes are selling? A lot less than sold last year. Nobody can afford to buy the homes, right? So there's a problem. They can't afford to buy the homes, but more and more homes are coming on the marketplace. Now it is interesting. It is interesting. This is interesting. A lot of people are frustrated that their home's not selling. You see, they got their pie in the sky number, and they're not going to take a penny less less than Billy Bob sold for. And you can't blame them because Billy Bob got out at the top, right? They want to get out at the top, but they can't sell them. There's no buyers for them. There's no one coming through their open houses. So they've taken them off the marketplace. It's like picking up your marbles and going home. I don't want to play anymore. They're taking them off the marketplace, which is fascinating to me. See, cancellations are 3 times higher than expired listings right now. Expired listings just means you had it on there for 6 months, it didn't sell, and you just took it off that way. That's an expired listing. But people are canceling at a rate of 3 times more than the expired listings. They're pulling them off the market. Now, this frustrates realtors a lot. I know this because I've had that happen before. I had it happen anyways. I had the home, marketed it, spent a lot of money marketing this home, multi-million-dollar home, finally had it sold. It was a divorce, right? And all of a sudden the wife decides that she doesn't want to sell, that she's going to stay there, right? So, okay, so I lost that listing. Well, 2 months later, she decides she's going to sell, but she didn't use me because I was the friend of the husband. She thought I'd take advantage of her because I was the husband's friend, and she didn't think I was her friend, so she found another realtor 2 months down the road and sold. But she canceled on me, and it was very painful because I already had it in escrow, already had the buyer locked in. I did all the work. I was just sitting back waiting to get paid. Sometimes they cancel on you, right? They fall apart. Now, this is fascinating to me. Okay, we got to talk about how I feel sellers are actually being extorted in the marketplace, if you will. This is very fascinating. Business always fascinates me. I love business. I get obsessed with this stuff a little too much. But okay, so let's talk about Zillow for a second. What's Zillow? Zillow takes the listing from, like, I go get a listing, right? And I got to put it on Zillow because that's where my client wants to see it. They want to see it up there on Zillow. So when someone contacts the Zillow website, says they're interested in the listing, do they refer that client to me? No, they do not. Not unless I pay for it. I could pay between $1,000 and $5,000 a month to Zillow to be that premier agent, and then they'd send me the leads on my own listing, right? Okay, so they're kind of, that's very frustrating to the real estate agent. We give them the listing, but yet they won't give us the leads unless they pay us. We pay them, right? So they're kind of extorting the real estate broker to buy our own leads back from them. Okay, well, here's even a better one. Here's a better one. Okay, Homes.com, right? They're kind of like a Zillow. They post things for sale and they refer you to an agent. If I wanted to give Homes.com some money, they would refer me to some of the people that are looking for the homes on their website, kind of the same program as Zillow, but they take it one step farther, right? Okay, so they got all the homes listed on their site, but here's what they're doing. They're sending letters out directly to the seller going, hey, your home's not selling, is it? Well, if you give us $1,000, it's only $900, I'm exaggerating, between $300 and $900, depending on the area, depending on what they do. But if you give us $900, we will advertise your home at the top of the list, and this will increase the chances of you getting it sold because your dumb agent can't get it sold. Now, they're sending these letters out directly to the seller. It just cracks me up. I'm a real estate broker, and we get picked on a lot, and that's okay. Anyways, I think someone's going to go in and shoot the Homes.com people. They're extorting the seller right in front of their dumb agent that can't get the listing sold. Isn't that funny? That cracks me up a little bit, but a lot of agents, they're up in arms about this, going behind their back directly to the seller with the letters telling them how stupid their agent is that he can't get it sold. But if you give us some money, give us $900, we'll get it sold for you. I don't know. I get no business. They got funny practices, right? And that's just what's going on in the real estate side of things, right? But anyways, I mean, it's fascinating to me because right now things are getting a little harder to sell. And the ones that are selling, well, they're selling at a loss. And that's kind of painful too, right? 1 out of every 6 homes that sells right now sells at a price lower than they bought it at. So if they bought at $900,000, let's say it sells at $800,000, right? But that's not the whole extent of the loss. They don't tell you the whole extent. They got another 40 grand on top of that, paying fees and closing costs. So they're really down about $140,000. Now, if you bought a home in the last 4 years, let's say you bought a condo, well, 30% of those are already underwater. You'd have to sell and a big loss. Now, single family homes have fared a little bit better. Only 17% of those homes are underwater. But I started my channel about 4 years ago, and everybody along the way just calls me an idiot, right? That tall Mike don't know what he's talking about. Home prices are going to go up forever. They're going to go to the moon. And that's what people think, right? But it doesn't always work that way. And I'm not picking on anybody, but I got called a lot of names along the way. But do you realize that 80% of the buyers that bought in the last 4 years, they got buyer's remorse. They'd like to get out of the deal. They'd like to wash their hands. They wish they never did it. So kind of what I was telling people kind of made a little bit of sense. Now, Billy Bob, he listened to me. He sold up here at the top, and he put his money into gold. Now, if you look at your home price in terms of real money, I mean, maybe it's come down a little bit in nominal terms, but in terms of real money, you're down 40, 50% easily. Home prices have been crashing in terms of real money, and they're probably going to start to do it in terms of nominal money. Now, why is nominal money going to start to take effect? Well, because of the number of listings, right? Number of listings that are on the market, 29% more listings than there were this time last year. Now, that's interesting, right? So listings have piled onto the marketplace. Prices haven't really dropped that much yet. But here's the thing. Home sales volume is dropping like a rock, right? Every month, down 5%, down 5%, down 5%. I mean, we're all getting close to record lows. You'd have to go back to the great financial crisis to find a slower time for buying homes. And price always follows volume, so it's going to follow it down. And now I'm talking about nominal prices at that point. But it's following it down. Now, they can't get them sold, right? Can't get the homes sold. So here's the thing. A lot of agents, they don't do open houses. I like open houses. That's where you can pick up other clients, right? So if I have a listing, I go do an open house for that client until it sells. Now, the reason I do that is because agents like myself are no longer allowed to show properties. We can't bring a buyer. Now, leave me a comment if you signed a buyer agreement with an agent that you are being exclusively represented by that agent, and then they're allowed to show you a property. Just to show you a property, you got to sign that agreement. You got to sign a contract with that buyer agent, right, to go out and show you the property. Let me leave a comment if you signed a buyer agent agreement yet. That's required just to see the property. So agents like myself, we don't show properties anymore. But what I do is I hold an open house, and then everybody comes in. And what's interesting, these people are not represented by agents anymore. So they're free game to me. If they like the house, would you like the house? Yeah, I'd like the house. Would you like to buy it? Yeah, I'd like to buy it. Great. Sign here, and they're going to pay me 3% on top of the 3% I'm getting from my client. So I double end the transaction, and this is why realtors are hated. But it's the law now. Other agents are not allowed to show my house property that I have for sale without a buyer signing away their life in a buyer contract that says they're going to use this agent exclusively on this property. Now, let me know if anybody signed those yet. I don't recommend you do. Personally, go to the open house. Contact a listing agent. The listing agents, they love to double end the transaction. I'd probably, if he called me, I'd even give you a deal on one of my listings, right? I'd probably only charge you maybe 1 or 2%, right? Or if you go hire, buy an agent, sign the contract, they're going to want to get paid for their work, right? So they're probably up there around 3%. But this is what's going on. People don't get it. You see, they think the real estate agent has nothing to do with the decline in sales. And the real estate agent really has nothing to do with the transaction. We were just a helpful hand, right? Nothing to do with the transaction. It's funny when I go into these sellers, right? They go, I want $3 million for the property. I go, that's great. Do you have a buyer for $3 million? Because you see, the seller doesn't set the price. The buyer sets the price with what they're willing to pay, right? The agent doesn't set the price. We have nothing to do with the price it's going to sell at. The buyer decides how much the price is going to sell at, right? Now, there may be two buyers at the same time. And as an agent, I do marketing and try to get the, multiple offers for my clients so they get in the bidding war. But the buyers deciding how high to go. If you want $3 million for your property, that's great, but it may only sell for 2.5. We just don't know. We don't know what they're going to sell for until it's a closed transaction in escrow. But you see, a lot of showings aren't happening now. Agents aren't showing the property. We're not legally allowed to. So open houses have become more valuable. So if you're a real estate agent, you want to have more open houses. That's all I'm saying. The game has changed. The game has changed. A lot of realtors have dropped out of the business because they were buying agents. They can't make a living. So the business is getting to be really good for the agents again because there's less and less of them, and I can get both sides to the transactions because those buyers are not represented that are coming to my open houses. Very fascinating times in the real estate industry. I just got a little carried away. I wanted to tell you what's going on. I'm Tall Mike. Give me the thumbs up. Punch the subscribe button. Get out there, buddy. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.